Welcome back. My name is Erin, and this is Dear Source, your ascendancy hotline, where we talk about real life situations and link them to your spiritual growth, connecting in with the wisdom of Source, and working through all our real life situations to understand how do we grow? How do we evolve through this? Because everything that is occurring, that is happening, on this planet is for our spiritual growth. That's the only lesson. It's only just lessons. It's only lessons for our souls. And so it is such a huge gift to be able to connect with Source, channel Source, and share with you the wisdom that applies to each of the listeners' situations that reaches out for guidance and assistance. So before we dive into the letter, please like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the beautiful things. Send this to anybody that you know might need to hear it. We are here to just bring love and light and spirituality to the world. So let's dive right in and see what Source has to say. So this letter reads, Dear Source, I'm heartbroken. I feel so lost right now. I'm dating someone who I thought was different, someone who I truly fell for. We have this amazing chemistry, deep connection, and honestly, the best intimacy I've ever experienced. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was with somebody who really got me, but now everything is crumbling and I don't know what to do. The signs have been there as much as I tried to ignore them. I've seen dating app notifications pop up on their phone, messages from other women, and even caught them lying to me, pretending to take out the garbage while they were actually outside on the phone with somebody else. Each time I brush it off or try to convince myself I'm overthinking, I end up feeling more confused and betrayed. It hurts so much to realize the person I thought I could trust is hiding things and being dishonest. I know I deserve respect and truth, but I'm struggling to let go. How do I move forward from here, Source? How can I find the strength to release this relationship, even though it feels like it's tearing me apart? Sincerely, Heartbroken. And Heartbroken, thank you. Thank you for that beautiful letter and just your transparency and honesty. And first and foremost, I think, there's this opportunity to just really honor where you are at and that feeling of being heartbroken. And where is that stemming from? Our we talk a lot about here on this channel and being channeled through Source is we're here to reconcile our divinity and our humanity. And our ego and our humanness, those things are very, very, very hurtful. And it's hard to just spiritually bypass and override them. I do think there's a way to handle the situation in a more enlightened manner, I think, to give you more peace, to help you seek the closure that you need in order to move forward in life or in this connection or whatever you hold to be true to yourself. And understand that it's okay to be sad and it's okay to feel heartbroken. And I think really examine within yourself, like all of those things are truly not about the other individual. They're truly about you and a lesson for yourself. Because that's where the growth really happens. I think where we have a hard time evolving as a human species is when we externalize and point the finger at somebody else. And the reality is like it's an internal change within ourselves, even if it's a conversation with that individual, to really change our reaction point and how we want to handle it. So there's a lot to unpack in this letter. I think first and foremost, what I would acknowledge is that the love that you have with this individual is what is real. That is true and real. And to honor that and to acknowledge that and to love that, I think is so important. Like, I think so often we're quick to dismiss and fall out of the understanding of love and oneness when we are hurt. And I think this is an opportunity to really go within and just acknowledge, like, what is really hurt. Our spirit is never hurt. Our our soul is perfect and divine and only knows love. So the truest essence of you is experiencing real, authentic love, real connection with that soul. And so honor that, be grateful for that. And look at the things that are coming up that are more in the physical world, more on the, I guess, what we would look at as the human side and say, okay, what is the lesson here that Source is trying to give me to really grow myself and come into a space of unconditional love of myself? Am I being honest and am I being respectful to myself? That person oftentimes is just mirroring back areas that we can expand, look into, or grow. Also, too, our ego is designed to keep us safe. So there are often times that things could be going on that are not as they seem. So, how do you get yourself to a state? How do you create, I think, some separation and ability to really connect in with you and where you're at, to really connect into that intuition, to go, okay, what do I know to be true? What is true here? Am I um am I just making this stuff up in my head? Is he being honest? You don't know who he was on the phone with. Your mind wants to race and go wild. Our ego wants to attach, it wants to separate. Its whole point is separation. The ego operates out of three modalities of emotion. It operates out of lack. So, are you lacking love? So are you attaching to this individual because you don't feel worthy? And you have never had this kind of love before? Are you doing it? Are you attached to the outcome? Like, what's going to happen between you two? Where is this going to go? Who is this person to me? That again is the ego. Nothing wrong with that. We are here as a human being having a spiritual experience, and we're a spiritual being having a human experience. So we have this opportunity to look at these situations to grow our souls, to go, where am I not perceiving the truth? And anywhere we're perceiving from our ego is not truth. Perceiving oneness and source is the truth. That is what we are really here for. We are here to remember that we are fully divine and fully human. We're here to evolve our consciousness into our heart space and to see and requalify with love. And that doesn't mean you just requalify love and think, if they are doing things that are untruthful and dishonest and things that you just would not tolerate because you're not giving that back, then what I would offer is there is an opportunity to really kind of examine how do I have this conversation and how do I move forward? How do I have the conversation of, like, this is how internally, like, I feel very disconnected. I feel like my GPS and my intuition is off. How do I reconnect to my highest self to follow the guidance and to understand that we can let some of this egoic stuff go? Like the ego kind of wants to get in the fights. The ego wants to have these conversations. The ego wants to not, it's not an allowance. Ego is constriction. If you think about energy, we're either in expansion or constriction. So if you think you're in your soul, you are in the infinite loving abundance of the universe. When you're truly aligned with your soul, when we are more identified in our ego as the separate self, then we have we're constricted down. It's not an allowance. It's all the things that are the exact opposite. It wants to find blame, it wants to point, all designed to keep you safe, but its whole intention is to seek and find things that will help keep you separate from this individual. And again, I would also offer, like, as you go through this lesson and start to step into our truest self, it's like when we take our ego, like the things you were describing, it's when we identify our ego and I misidentify that as our truest self, that's where we ultimately are sinning. There's no such thing as a sin. Sin is a term in archery that means you missed your mark. So you also have to remember that being human is being an ego with the humanity demands, and that being human also means being our soul. Like we are here to balance this duality of our humanness and our spirit, our soul. And we're here to walk that fine line. That's what we're here to become, is that true human being, the anthropos, as they talk about in the Bible and ancient Greece. It's like that's what we're here to truly understand and be. That we're uniting the ego to the soul. And we do that through lessons like this that are occurring. And so when this occurs or happens, how do you feel and understand where this is coming up for you? Where is my ego residing that's creating these feelings? Because the discomfort means that there is not truth in the understanding that we are our soul and that our soul is infinite and expansive and ever connected and all loving. That's all the soul knows and is. So there's never any perceived lack. The ego has no desire to be attached to any outcome because it already all that is and all that ever will be. So there's nothing to attach to. It's expansive and trusting in the divine timing of the universe to deliver the desires of your soul. It's not grasping for control out of fear. Like, if I don't do this, or what if I say this, or what is going to happen? All of that is ego. All of that is illusions of your separate self. And the work to do is to go within and go, where is that coming from? Where is that being risen within myself because of this situation, that I can look inwardly and see those aspects of myself, because they're all just catalysts for our soul's growth, and to identify that part of ourselves and bring that part of ourselves lovingly into the remembrance of who you are, into the remembrance of we are our soul. We are perfect, whole, and divine. There is nothing other than love going on here. So these things are happening for your self-examination, for your soul's growth, and not to be pointing the finger, because all of that is just egoic trying to control the situation. It's like, well, what if I say, what are you trying to get from that person? If I say that, what then happens? What if you focus more of your energy and less on the other person, focus all your energy inwardly to really go, what is my state of being? Where is my soul residing? Where am I being catalyzed to acknowledge soul growth and to understand that that catalyst will help you elevate and you turn inwardly? You also then release that person into the ethers with love and light, knowing it may come in, it may go out. You're detached. You're not here to control anything. You're not here to label anything. You're not here to overanalyze anything. You're just returning to a state of, am I being unconditionally loving as my soul wants me to be? Am I giving? And am I able to receive back the love that I am giving? Because there is that opportunity here too. Like, are you also shutting out the love because of barriers around your heart that you're trying to make up these storylines? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. But in order to keep yourself safe, because the ego again wants to run with that. So there's nothing in, I mean, maybe if you like physically saw it, yeah, there's probably some opportunity to go, I know that's true. And to be able to then go decide, like, okay, I saw that. I can't unsee that. I don't think that I want to be in the presence of an individual that is acting that way. I can choose to move politely, like in a direction that's focused on myself and is an allowance of me stepping into the version of myself that I want to be. And I think in that process, you're releasing your attachment and also allowing God to do all the work. God is always divinely orchestrating the perfect partner at the perfect time, doing all the perfect things, because that's what your heart and your soul desires. And so God didn't bring us in here to suffer. We are very addicted to our suffering. Our ego likes the suffering. Our ego likes the victimhood. And we're here to kind of rise above that. We're here to embody that concept of resurrection constantly, of I'm not victimized by this. I stand in my full truth, in my full power, and I release and trust and surrender that the universe has a perfect plan for me and this other individual. And to know that both of you are perfectly held. You have your soul lessons, which it sounds like you're learning. The other individual in this relationship, they have their own soul lessons. They have their own karma. So you never have to do any harm, wish any ill will on anybody, because the one law we're here to follow is the universal law of love our neighbor as we love ourselves, to understand that there's only one of us here. So when we do harm to somebody else, truly the only person we're doing harm to is ourselves. And to trust and to know that God has each one of us divinely held where we're at in whatever soul and karma and contracts and all the things we came in here to learn. He's already on it. We don't need to worry about that. And how that gets experienced is in a variety of different ways. It can be through business. It can be through other relationships. It can be in other romantic relationships. It's not necessarily like an eye for an eye. Karma doesn't work like that. It's the universe is going to bring forth the lesson that every person needs at the right time for the highest growth of everybody involved. And so you can release that other person to know that God has them divinely held, just like God has divinely you held. And if stepping back and going inward is your greatest solution for your soul's growth, then I advise that you take that step. If continuing to be in relationship is what your soul's calling for to requalify some of this stuff, to see beyond the 3D, to help you see more from that unconditional love, non-egoic, spiritual perspective, to really understand the oneness, that's available too. Anything's available depending on what your soul needs to grow. And so as we move, we're in choice. We are in choice about how we deal with that, and knowing that none of it is right or wrong. And I know that that's sometimes the hardest, I think, especially in relationships, when it's like, no, my soul really is telling me this is the cue to walk away. Like, this is the cue to walk away. Then honor that. Know that there is a reason why your intuition is telling you that. Step into that and realize that that person may or may not be back. Somebody better, most likely, will be on their way, but that's not even the point. It's like an acknowledgement of, I trust the universe, I trust myself, and I release all the egoic patterns and allow the universe to work for itself. Because if having a loving, committed partner is of your heart's desire, the universe, it will find ways to bring that into your life. And so follow the nudgings, follow your intuition, trust what you know to be true, and allow that to be made manifest in your world, and detach from the outcome, detach from what other people think. Follow what your soul's telling you, because it's for the highest and greatest growth of all. And when we step in and we try to take control, that's when we don't allow for the universe to flow. We're constricting when we're held on to the outcome. Like, I'm never going to find another person like this. You might find somebody 10 times better. Like, you don't know. That's your ego. That's like, you can't let this person go. You better stay in it. It's like, release it and allow for the universe to give you what you desire, because our desires are of the Father, which means our desires, if truly aligned, are from our souls. They're not from our ego. They're not egoic. They come from the true essence of who we are. So if you would like a personal session with me, Heartbroken, I would love to connect with you, unpack this further, look at where you are feeling hurt and wounded, and where is that stemming from, and how do we use this situation to catalyze yourself for your highest growth, because that's why this is occurring, is for your spiritual growth. So please, again, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate everybody that joined us on today's episode, where we connected in with Heartbroken to talk about relationship issues, but we are here to talk about everything and anything, because everything is a spiritual lesson, because we are our souls, and we are here learning spiritual lessons as human beings. Coming soon as well. So keep tuning in 2025 to launch the new year, the year of completion. It's the year of the 9. We will be launching a like-minded spiritual community where we can connect, where we can engage as a human being, as our soul is designed to be, to connect, to learn, to uplift, to know we're not in this alone, to have true human interaction about any and all topics, just like we cover on this show. So I could not be more excited about that. So please stay tuned as we work on revealing those details to you. And until tomorrow, honor your truth, trust the process, and stay connected with source.